So, it's 2024, you've seen the trailers for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and you decide to dust off your copy of KCD 1 for another playthrough, but you're not sure how to start. Every guide you look up has you picking flowers or punching cows for 4 hours before you can actually get into the open world. However, this guide is all about efficiency, showing how you can get the best loot, stats, and equipment all in under 2 hours for your next playthrough. Let's get started. The first decision you have to make is picking your first 2 stats to level up. There's no wrong answers, but I strongly recommend picking speech. The other skills are easy enough to level up through quests and progression, and speech will likely be the skill that takes the longest to get to level 20, so having an extra boost at the start is a real help. To help level it even further, select the dialogue option, My Friends Aren't Drunks, when prompted, and this will give 2 more hidden dialogues we can take advantage of, first here with Mother, and the other with Father a little later on. Go through the rest of her dialogue, grab something to eat, and make your way outside. Start by picking all the nettles located around the house. There's a bunch located by the bank to the left of the house and another cluster by the castle located along the wall. The reason we're specifically focusing on nettles is because after picking 100 poisonous herbs, you get the resistance perk which grants a +2 buff to your vitality. Once collecting all the nettles in the upper part, make your way to the entrance and make sure that you're alone. There's sometimes a guard that patrols up this way, and Henry's mother can pass on her way to the well, but if the coast is clear, crouch down behind the farmer at the cart, choke him out, and take everything out of his inventory. He never seems to resist, and this just gives us some free stealth XP along with some extra loot. Once you have all that, make your way down to the front gate of Skalitz and continue picking all the nettles in this area. If you follow the building to the right around, there's well over 200 nettles along with a variety of other herbs, so grab all you can until you reach level 5. As soon as you get to level 5 in Herbalism, select the Flower Power perk, which grants an additional +2 Charisma when you have 30 or more herbs in your inventory. Make sure the Resistance perk is active, then you can make your way back to the Forge. On the way, make sure to speak to the Combat Master located on the bench to get him moving along to the combat arena, then speak to your father. Since we didn't speak to him earlier, we get an extra speed check opportunity with him which we can easily pass, and we can start collecting the stuff we need to forge the sword. Start by making your way down to Kunesh's house by following the hill down to the left. You're not going to want to fight him at this point, since if you beat him up now, you won't have the option to get any lockpicks. Best to play it safe by passing a speed check, then going into his house and looking at his chest. Once Henry prompts you to speak with Fritz, we can leave the house and head over to your friends waiting for you at the tavern. Agree to go and throw with them over at the Deutsches, then speak to your friend Fritz, who kinda looks like that kid from Shrek Forever After.
Hear the roar.
He's going to give you 4 lockpicks, and we can start putting those to use right away. First, stop and speak to Bianca, who has a few dialogue options available, but make sure not to ask her for the pitcher of ale. If we pick up the ale at this point, Father's just going to send you back to get more, but all our other dialogues can be used. Now head up the stairs, and up here you'll find a room with 2 locked chests. I know lockpicking is a bit of a sore subject, so here's a couple tips on how you can be a bit more successful. For those that play using a controller, like me, you can go into the menu over in the game settings and switch over to the simplified lockpicking controls, which makes this, well, simpler. However, if you're still struggling after this, here's another tip to help you out. The closer the sweet spot is to the center of the lock, the less movement has to be done to maintain the position, which in turn makes the lock easier to open. If the white dot in the middle is small, simply back out and open the screen again. Each time you do this, the position of the lock will be reset, and you can continue to do this until you get a starting position closer to the center like here. Once you get this one open, go to the other chest and do the exact same thing. The loot inside these chests is pretty bad, but we're mainly doing this to slowly level our lockpicking skill to allow us to open harder locks a little later on. When the second chest is done, make your way down the stairs and repeat the process on the chest located there, then again on the door and another chest in the second room. Make sure to crouch when unlocking the second chest, as sometimes people outside might spot you through the window, but otherwise you shouldn't have any problems. With everything out of the chest, make your way back to Bianca and ask her to trade some goods. You're more than welcome to skip this step, but I usually like to sell all the perishable goods to her, since they'll most likely spoil if we store them in the chest at the house by the time we make it back there, but it's an easy bit of groschen and helps us to shed some weight before we move on to the next part. Once we're finished selling Bianca all her own goods back, make your way over to the Combat Master. Go through his training, and everything can be done as normal, right up until he asks you to do the chain strikes. At this part, just do 1 attack at a time with about a second pause in between. If you're playing in normal mode, feel free to skip this step as your skills tend to rise quite quickly, but for those in hardcore mode, utilize the full 3 3 minutes available to do the single strikes before he opts to end the training. This is going to be very important a little later on in the tutorial. Now that you've finished the sword lesson, make your way back down the hill and head to the house straight in front of you. This is going to be the Deutsch's house, and he'll be the next one that we rob. I strongly suggest doing this before joining your friends, because after this point, the Deutsch and his son will be patrolling the area, so getting into his house without being caught is almost impossible. Once getting through his front door, there's a chest available in the room to the left and another chest behind a locked door by the front. Inside the second chest is a load of high value clothing we can sell a little later on, so grab everything out of the chest and then go speak to your friends. Follow their instructions to lure away the wife, throw some shit, and beat the holy hell out of your attackers. They typically don't put up too much of a fight, but if you happen to take some damage throughout the fight, don't worry about it, you can always heal up by talking to your mother. While your friends run away to Kunesh's, take this time to go back to your house. There's a chest in the room to the right you can lockpick for a strength book and a playing die, but honestly you're better off selling or keeping this as a collectible since it's useless when you play dice. Then put all your excess loot in Henry's chest located in his living room. We're going to be back for this a little later. Now you can make your way over to the castle to collect the crossguard. If you've been to see Kunesh and the tavern before coming here, you're going to have a pair of hidden dialogue options you can take with the guards, which helps not only level your speech, but also adds a little to the story. On the way back into town, if the coast is clear, you can most likely knock out that farmer again and nab all his stuff for a second time. Then you can head back to Kunesh, ask your friends to beat him up, grab his key, and go into his house. If you've broken a couple lockpicks at this point, you can open the chest using the key, but we're mainly doing this for more XP and lockpicking rather than the loot inside, so try to lockpick the chest open if you can. After leaving Kunesh, go to the trader store located next door. Walk through a front door, into the back room, and make your way up the stairs. Up here will be an easy level lock on the left and a hard level lock behind some barrels to your right. If you're playing in normal mode, pick the easy level chest first and you should get a perk in lockpicking, which we're going to select the lasting lockpicks. This perk is very handy when picking high level locks since the lockpicks last twice as long, which gives us more room for error. Unfortunately, if you're in hardcore mode, you won't have this benefit at this point, but the chest can still be picked as long as your lockpicking skill is at least at level 2, and it is doable if you wait for the right opportunity and open the lockpicking screen multiple times. This chest has the entire stock of the trader downstairs, to include a groschen, some repair kits, and the charcoal we need for father. Take everything out and walk into the adjacent room. Open the chest by the door, then make your way down the stairs and across the street back to the tavern. You can trade one more time with Bianca for any items you don't want to keep, then ask for the ale and make your way back to the house. Do another loot drop into your chest and make sure you hold on to at least 10 pieces of charcoal, grab the nails for Teresa, and tell father you have everything he asked for. You can also use this opportunity to ask him what he did in Talmberg, which is part of that extra dialogue I mentioned at the very start. As soon as you're out of this cutscene, make a save, but don't talk to Teresa just yet. This next part is completely optional and is most likely the riskiest part of this whole guide, but it's still worth at least attempting. We're going to run back down to the tavern and knock out the bailiff located outside.
What the f did you just say?
It's actually not as hard as it sounds. The bailiff will always be sitting at the bench outside the tavern, and to escape, we're going to run out the back side of the tavern, hop over the fence, go to the wall, and make our way back to the house. Make sure to first check that the coast is clear of any guards in your path, such as the one that patrols up to the castle. Then you can crouch down behind the bailiff, strike, scream, and run. I like waiting to do this at this point because you'll see you get a jail icon over Skalitz, but as soon as we talk to Teresa, we're going to get transported out of the city, and there really isn't any downside to doing it at this point. Make your final trip over to your chest, drop off all the loot, speak to mother one last time if you've taken any damage,
Ma?
and then speak to Teresa to finish out this part. And in just a little over 30 minutes, we already have a great start here in Skalitz, but this is just the beginning. As soon as you're out of the cutscene, follow the path all the way to the bottom of the hill and grab the horse with the green saddle. You can whistle to distract the humans to help Teresa get away, then mount the horse and follow the fence to the end of the path. It's important not to open the horse inventory just yet. Instead, ride down the path and wait for the cutscene where Henry gets shot in the leg. Once you're out, then you can open your inventory, scroll over to Sidekick, and select Tack, where you'll find a noble saddle with 4 saddlebags along with 2 plain bridles. You can take these 3 items, but I suggest leaving the 35-pound plain saddle as it's just not worth the hassle for only being worth 125 groschen. From here, ride to Talmberg as you usually would. Speak to Sir Robard, eat in the kitchen, sleep, and once Lady Stephanie wakes you up, choose to talk about the raid and select all of her dialogue options with her speech checks. In normal mode, you'll pass them all pretty easily and get a great boost in your speech XP, but in hardcore mode, I suggest taking the charisma checks instead and you'll still get a good bit of speech XP. After Sir Robard wakes you up, now is the time we're gonna loot all of Talmberg. Start by going to the guard tower at the top of the castle stairs. There's always going to be a guard that sleeps in here either on the bench or at the top of the ladder in one of two beds. Unfortunately, if he's in the bed to the left, you'll always take some fall damage by falling back through the hole, but once you knock him out, take everything in his inventory and he's going to have a great starter set of armor that we'll be equipping on our way out of Talmberg, but there's no need to equip it just yet. Now we can make our way over to Lady Stephanie's room. Lockpick the chest on the far end of the room for more valuable clothing, then the one located outside of her door. The second one is only going to have a torch inside, but it is free XP for lockpicking, so it's worth doing. Next, go to the end of the hall, make a left, and go into the other guard tower. Climb up both sets of ladders, where there's going to be a chest with weapons and shields at the very top, and a chest with some armor on the middle floor, neither of which are amazing, but the items can be sold a little later. Head back down the way you came, go to the middle floor of the castle, and lockpick the hard door located on your left. Everything inside is going to be too high a level for you to pick, so instead, go to the other side of the room and lockpick the cabinet. Inside here will be more misc loot like goblets and glasses, then go into the Chamberlain's room located on your right. Start by choking him unconscious, take all the stuff out of his inventory, grabbing all his books on the bookshelf to your left, then turn around and proceed towards the door. There's a hard lock chest beside the door that you'll be able to lockpick if your skill is at least at level 4, and I suggest you be a bit more careful than I was. Inside the chest is all the Chamberlain's clothing with almost 2,000 groschen worth of gear along with a 1,100 groschen combat jacket. Then head out the door, make a right, and head towards the final guard tower located by the stairs. Head up the ladder and there's going to be an assortment of random weapons on the table, some more located in 4 barrels, and 2 hard level chests with more weapons, shields, and bows. Take everything not nailed down, go back down to the middle floor, close the door so the guards won't see you, loot the barrel, take the shields off the ground, unlock the easy chest for more shitty armor, then go down into the basement. Down here will be a locked chest that we can actually open using the key that we got from the first guard that we choked out. If you're running low on lockpicks, use the key to open the chest as we got one more chest to open after this point. Store all the goods you've collected in Talmberg within the chest and then make your way over to Sir Robard. He's gonna assign you to stand watch, a guard will come and teach you how to wait, apparently not a skill everyone had back in medieval times. You can either wait on the wall until morning, or if you took damage at the start, you can actually make your way back to your bed and pay about as much attention to the castle as the Secret Service pays to sloped roofs. In the morning, go to the ramparts, speak to Robard, and make your way to the Talmberg's front gate. We need to speak to guard Rattay, pass a speed check, go to Lady Stephanie, and go through all of her dialogue, then make your way back to the chest where we left all the gear in the basement. Take everything out of the chest and equip all the most expensive items of clothing you can in each slot, then speak to Rattay again about leaving the castle. If you leave with his permission, the guards below won't be searching for you, so you can freely start making your way towards the tavern. The reason we want to head to the tavern is to get access to the chest we get whenever we stay in owned rooms. You see, there's what I would consider to be 3 tiers of chests within this game. The worst tier is the common chest. These are ones that NPCs have access to regularly and use to store clothing and gear whenever they sleep. Leaving anything in any of these is a great way to lose anything you place inside them. The next tier are what I would consider to be safe chests, which are dotted all over the map and NPCs never access, therefore anything you put in there will stay there forever, but you have to physically return to them to retrieve any of the contents. Some examples of this are all the treasure map chests located around the map, or the chest inside Skalitz located in Henry's home. But the absolute best S tier chest is the share chest, which is located at any location that Henry owns, such as in Peshek's Mill or any tavern located across the map when you pay for a room. So by renting a room in Talmberg, storing all the gear inside the share chest, all this stuff will be waiting for us in the chest in Peshek's Mill or any other location we decide to go and rent a room. Pretty neat, huh? Once you have all the weapons, extra armor, and misc loot inside the chest, you can start making your way back to Skalitz. Make sure to hold on to at least one lockpick and proceed down the path to the east towards a fisherman's house. Go around back of the house and go directly northeast until reaching an interesting site. This is a poacher's camp and the location of treasure map 18, so if you come here later, there's a poacher guarding this spot, but coming here at this point will be clear, so take everything out of the easy chest and keep going east until the game transports you over to Rovna. You'll end up here at the Rovna Church, so start making your way down the road towards the Skalitz Silver Yard. There's a low-level bandit on the way by the small bridge, but he won't prove very challenging since we're pretty much fully kitted out. Follow the road all the way till you see the silver yard, walk down into the river under the bridge, and to the left you'll see a large chest that's already open. This is treasure map location number 9, and inside you'll see over 5,000 groschen of high level weapons and armor. If you're in hardcore mode, there's significantly less, so be aware of that, but take everything out and feel free to equip the necklace along with the silver ring, and now make your way to the Skalitz front gate. There's going to be another low level bandit out front, and once he's dead, loot all his stuff, grab the shard from the bailiff, take Bianca's ring, and then head over to your parents. Once swearing to find them a grave, follow the sound of the barking dog, take all of Zbyszek's dialogue, scare him away, grab the spade, and then head over to the dovecote located across the street. This is going to be in a grave and is tied to the side quest Scavenger, so inside you'll find Baron's Cup along with another 50 groschen. With everything completed in Skalitz, head back to Henry's old home where there's 3 final things for us to do. The first is lockpicking the chest inside Henry's pantry one last time. While there won't be anything inside the chest, it's free lockpicking XP. Next, we're gonna unequip all the armor you have on. This next battle is unwinnable, so there's no point in getting all of your good armor smashed to bits. And lastly, grab everything out of the chest inside your living room. This is all gonna come with us as we get transported over to Rattay. Now you can dig the grave for your parents, lose the fight to run, and have yourself a little nightmare. Once inside the nightmare, feel free to take out all the humans and civilians, since this actually transfers over to real world XP without any of the consequences. Then once Teresa wakes you up, select all her dialogue, take some low level clothing out of your chest, and start making your way over towards the castle. And that is the entire tutorial section complete, and I still have another 45 minutes to show you how to power level your stats with no risks. Start by heading towards the lower castle, speak to the guards located outside the walls, pass their speech check, then make your way over the bridge. After speaking to your friend guards at the bottom of the castle, get assigned to Sir Radzig's garrison, then go over to the training arena to wait for Captain Bernard. While here, you can use the wait cancel feature by waiting and canceling really quickly to make Bernard appear right away. Ask him to do the basic training, and I suggest agreeing to start with the basics. This is going to allow us to have a few extra sword hits on Bernard, and if you're in hardcore mode, use this segment in the chain strike section to do single hits like we did at the very start. The main goal of this entire training is to get your sword skill up to level 3. As soon as the prompt in the top left corner appears and has a gold star beside it, breeze through the rest of the training just as fast as you can. But until then, take your time and get as many hits in as you can. As soon as you're done with the training, immediately open your menu and select the Zorn Ort Rat Strike as your perk in your sword skill tree. Trust me, even if you don't plan to use longswords for the rest of your playthrough, it's worth at least selecting this one. Otherwise, the rest of this guide is simply not going to work. Now head down to the archery range to compete with Hans Capon. I know archery is another sore subject within the game, with many people getting frustrated, and if you want more tricks on how to get better, check out Strat's Grandma Guide for more tips. For the purposes of this contest, just make sure to have the bow at full draw and try to line up the top of Henry's knuckle with the bottom right corner of the target. The drop on this bow is pretty aggressive, and even though you might not hit a bullseye each time, that's more than enough to win this portion. Hans is pretty dog shit at archery, and you'll get an extra 3 points if you finish first. Then when you progress to the sword fight with him, just stay patient and make sure to keep an eye on your stamina. Wait for him to attack first, then counter him with a stab to the face. If you can, he's also fairly weak at defending against combos, so try to hit him with that Zorn Ort combination you just learned, but if you aren't confident with pulling these off, don't worry, you're about to do this one a whole lot. After winning Capon's bow, make sure to speak to Bernard, then speak to the bailiff, and you can make your way over to the armory for a free kit of armor. Again, it's complete garbage, but it's free loot we can use to sell later. Then immediately make your way back to Captain Bernard at the training arena before going on the patrol with Nightingale. Ask him for training, and the first option is to pick to learn Master Strikes. He's only going to teach you this if you have a weapon skill of at least 3, so pick to learn the riposte with a sword. You'll have to defeat him in combat, but he's fairly easy, and if you fail, just keep doing this until you pass, since there's no risk while you're using the wooden weapons.
Enough. That will do.
Then go back into the training and ask to learn combos, and this is why we learned the Zorn Ort. He's going to give you a 1-minute introduction and instructs you to perform the false edge combo shown at the top right, but instead of doing that combo, we're going to continuously keep hitting him with the Zorn Ort. Each time you successfully complete a combo, you get an extra boost in XP to all your skills, along with minor increases for landing regular strikes. The totals for the skills you get for doing each successful combo are listed on the screen, and you can see by doing the Rat Strike, there's a total gain of 12 strength XP, 6 agility XP, and 14 sword XP each time we nail this combo. We can do this about 10 times a session, so each time you go through the training, you'll walk away with a massive amount of skill gain. You also want to do this during the learn combos portion, since he openly lets you hit him with any combos you like without ever countering or attacking you back, so you're guaranteed to hit him with each combo that you attempt. Unfortunately, this can only ever be done with long swords, so if you try to do this with maces or axes, it won't work, which is why I suggested picking at least one longsword combination. I also suggest you turn your volume all the way down to 0 for this part, unless you want to listen to this after each combo you perform.
No, no, no! Try to catch the rhythm! Try to catch the rhythm! Try to catch the rhythm!
After he ends the training, just speak to him again, and repeat this for as long as you like until your skills are at a point you want them. You could even max out strength, agility, and sword if you like, but since I only have 2 hours to do this, I'll do this for the next 15 minutes just to show you how quickly this actually goes. One final note, if you want to learn the combo he's teaching, make sure that on your last session to complete the training correctly. Even if you've learned this in the past, if you quote unquote fail, you forget the combo, so do it correctly 3 times before leaving him completely. And with that, let's go to the tavern up the road, rent a room, and do a status check on this 2-hour start that we've just done. As we can see from our skills, we're all the way up to a main level skill of 7 with 3 perks available, a strength skill of 9 with 4 perks available, an agility of 6 with 2 perks, a vitality of 4, and a speech level of 5 with a single perk point available. As far as our combat skills, our sword is all the way up at level 9 with 2 additional combinations to select, our warfare is at level 8 with 3 perk points to select, and we already know the Master Strike ability. And finally, our lockpicking is level 5, stealth is at level 4, but can easily be leveled up faster through the millers or looting your way all the way through Rattay. As far as our gear, we have over 7,500 groschen worth of weapons, every armor slot on the character filled with good mid to late game armor, and a total gear value of around 20,000 groschen. Then as far as the misc loot, we have almost 1,000 groschen of gold, with another 4,000 between potions and gear we can sell to the local merchants. And we were able to get all that in just under 2 hours. If you want to see what this run looks like in real time, check out the video on the screen where I live streamed this exact start in hardcore mode with all 9 negative perks. If you want to know how to level all other skills, check out this guide for leveling all skills within Kingdom Come. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.